Hello, Sergey. My name is Andrea Allen. I am Raymond Farrell's friend, and I'm preparing this presentation for you to look through your website and to make a number of recommendations for how you can move forward in terms of building up your business and finding new clients. Now, I'll tell you a little bit about myself first. This is my website, vinesocialmedia.com. This is me. I've been working in the area of information technology for a long time. My degree is in information technology and business, and I graduated, it must be about 22 years ago now. So I've been working in this area for a long time. I can show you a picture of myself so you have an idea of who is talking to you at the moment. This is me here, Andrea Allen, lead generation marketing consultant. It all sounds very, very nice. Basically, it means that I have a good understanding of how to make a website popular with both Google and humans online, and also how to use different tools such as video to market a business online. Now, that's what I'm going to be talking to you about today. So let me just move along to the report that I've prepared. I spent a lot of time looking at your website here. I spent a long time going through it and found quite a lot of information, and I ran this report. I'm going to talk through the information in this report, so this video will be quite long, but you can listen to it little by little, 5 minutes maybe every day, to try and understand everything that's in there. And if you decide to work with somebody else or myself or with some professional in the future to build up your business and improve your business, you will have a good foundation to work from. The information I give you now will really help you to build your business. So here we go. So your website, overall, this program that I run, this report I prepare, gives you a grade, a level out of 100. And I'm terribly sorry, but unfortunately your website only has a grade of 17% out of 100. There are a lot of issues, a lot of problems that exist on the pages, but having said that, there are a lot of good things about your website too. So you're about halfway to the journey of getting a really good website, and that's a good sign. So let me go through this page by page. First of all, at the top here, you'll see that it says make sure that all of your important information is at the top of the fold. What does that mean? That just means that when we look at your website, we want to make sure that the information that we see on page 1, on each and every page, right at the top, is the most important information. And then information that is not as important, less important, comes underneath it. And I think you do have that more or less organized, but you could perhaps do a little bit better. When I scroll down, I see this information here, the name, and it says you're a customs advisor, you do consulting and outsourcing, you can help to cut expenses down, and you're working in Russia and, now I've forgotten what this is, the Eurasian something union. I'm afraid I forget what EEU stands for. I know it's not the European Union, it's different because it includes Russia and the Eastern Bloc as well, but I've forgotten the title of it. So my first suggestion actually would be to educate your visitors, the majority of whom will be from the United States and Europe. Educate them as to what you mean by the EEU. That's quite important, so you might want to add a little bit of text here. And when I scroll down, this is when I start to see all of this really important information that potentially a client could be dealing with millions of consumers, that you cover an incredibly large territory, that these are emerging markets. This is really important information. People who are interested in money want to be the first people to be in a new market. And the fact that you are working in a market that is growing and becoming bigger all the time is really important. So there are some things here, there's information here at the bottom of the page that really should come out, I think, at the top of the page. So even as soon as people arrive at your website, they know exactly what you do, they know exactly what services you're offering, and they know why you're the best person for them to work with. I don't think your website is doing that at the moment. They say that when people go to websites, they take about 6 seconds to decide if they're going to stay. So in 6 seconds, your visitors need to see exactly the most important things that you are offering. And I'm not sure that this little bit of text here, this little bit of information here really does the job correctly. So we'll talk about that a little bit more later. Let me come back to your report. So job number 1, make sure that the really important things that you want to tell your clients is above the fold at the top of the page. So let me come down a little bit more. Now I have a number of subsections, subtitles here that will talk about the things that are important to Google. Now we know that Google is the king of all search engines, absolute king of all search engines. There are thousands of different search engines, but Google owns about 80% of the share of searches. So when people go to search online, it's very rare, hardly ever happens now, that people will type in dogpile.com or yahoo.com. Nobody bothers with those search engines anymore. It's all about Google. And even if they do, for instance, go to bing.com, bing.com, that's Microsoft's search engine, Bing actually buys data from Google. So when you go to bing.com and type in a search, Bing connects to Google in the background and pulls in the data. So even though Google has 80% of the data with all of the information that it sells to other search engines, it owns about 90% of all of the searches. There are certain things that this search engine, Google, likes to see on websites to decide whether or not you are important enough to add into their listings. These are the listings here. I put in a search that was import, export, Moscow, Russia. Yeah. If I'm interested in sending something to be sold in Russia or buying things from Russia to come to the United States, this is the kind of search term that I would put in. So what does Google provide for me? There are, let me see. It has come up with almost 639,000 results. And here at the top we've got Europe Pages, we've got Advantor, etc., etc. People almost never bother to click onto page 2, page 3, page 5, and so on when they do a search and look at these listings. Almost never. In fact, Google has done specific research on the number of times that people click onto page 2 and onto page 3 and go further on and search for other things. Normally people just open whatever they find on page 1. And it's I think it's something like 98.1% of all clicks when people are searching for things happen on page 1. So that's all. Out of 100 people, 2 people will carry on and search pages 2, 3, 4, 5 and beyond. So really this is where you want to be. This is where you want to be with your website. You want Google to love your website so much and say, this website is excellent. It always changes. It has interesting information. It looks great. The pages come up very, very quickly. I love it. I'm going to show it to people on page 1 of my listings, and that will make the people who are searching for terms in my product very happy. So it has a number of criteria that Google prints every year. They list it for people like myself, people who work in the technical area of website creation, so that we know what it likes to see. And at the moment, Google is, I'm looking for the report. Google has told us that these are the things that are important. Number 1, it wants a website to come up very, very quickly. Because think about it, if you search for a page, if you put in, let me just find the right one. If you've done a search for import, export, Moscow, Russia, then you click on one of these links and it takes ages to open up. Maybe 30 seconds to open up that page. You're not going to stay. You're not going to wait very long. You'll just click the back button and go straight back to whatever was offered to you here. So let's see, Advantor, let's see how long it takes to appear. Oh, that was very, very quick. That appeared in, bang, 1 second. So because my time, the amount of time I want to spend looking and deciding if I like the way this website looks is very short, only 6 seconds, they've got my attention immediately. If it had taken longer, I would have gone straight back and checked out a different page instead. Now, Google takes notice of all of that. When people click on your website, if it takes a long time to open, like this website is doing, Google makes a note of the time it takes to open. There are still things coming in, so this is taking it took maybe 5 seconds to bring in everything on that page. A very long time. And Google will push this website further down the listings because it will say, no, this doesn't work quickly enough for my clients. I just want the quickest websites. I want the best websites with the most information on them. So let's come back to the report and let's look then at what this report tells us about how quickly your website appears. And it's extremely quick, 1/3 of a second, which is fantastic. And that's because you actually have very little data, very little information, very little text, and hardly any pictures on your website. So it just loads very, very quickly. So here's a tick. This page loads fast enough. The size of this page is very small, so that's okay. And the number of file requests where your website has to go and find a picture and pull it in, find some text and pull it in, find a video and pull it in. That would be 3 different file requests. Well, they're very low. It only has 1 picture on the main page, so it all came back very quickly. So the speed is extremely, extremely fast, and Google loves that. That is one of your good signals. Now, I've taken quite a lot of time to explain in detail why these things are important, just so that you understand why they're included in the report. But now that you understand why these things are being looked at by Google and how they are trying to provide a good service for their clients, who are people who are typing things in here, I'll go a little bit more quickly through this report now and tell you what the other indicators are that Google is looking at to decide whether or not your website is good enough to put on page 1 or to put further up the listings. You might get to page 7, and then 2 months later you might get to page 5, and then 2 months after that you might get to page 2, and then finally after 6 months of hard work you might get to page 1. That's usually how it works with search engine optimization, SEO. I always tell my clients, you need to give me at least 3 to 6 months as a minimum to really have excellent results. If it happens more quickly than that, faster than that, that's fantastic. But normally in the real world, it's a job that takes 3 to 6 months, because remember, there is so much competition. As we saw here, there are almost 640,000 results, and you might be number 629,000th place, so it can take a while to get to where you want to be. Right, so much more quickly, the URL, that is the address of the website, eximoptimum.com. Now the URL is search engine optimization friendly. It's very simple. It doesn't have too many words or letters in there. The only thing I would mention is that I don't really know what that title means, and sometimes people will decide whether to click on a link, a website link or a website page, when they see that the page offers exactly what they're interested in. So I don't know if you deal with exports and imports from this name. It's something that's Optimum, but I don't know what it is. Exim Optimum. So if you decide to make changes to your website or to create a new website in the future, I would consider spending some time perhaps looking at that name and deciding if maybe you want it to reflect what it is you're offering, what services you're offering. You can see here that the names of the companies that are on page 1 for import-export in Russia, they have quite specific names. Not these are bigger websites. Things like Wikipedia doesn't really count, but look here, world's top exports.com. I mean, that's absolutely precise as to what it offers. Euro pages, I understand that. That's something to do with Europe. Probably a listing though, a list of different companies. Advantours. It's not a great name, but it sounds like advantage and tours together. So now I can see foreign trade of Russia, Russian export and import, main trade partners of Russia. So it's actually easy for me to understand what is being offered there, what is being sold. So just consider that for the future. The exact keyword not found in this URL. Now, when we say keyword, what I did was, when I did a search, when I prepared this report, I had to put in something to compare your website against. So when I did the report, I told the program that I was using, right, this is the name of the company, this is the name of the website page, and I'm looking for the keywords export import, because that's the most important thing that you're offering. I tried putting in export, but the level was so low, and then import, it was even lower. Export import really worked best. It needed to be both of them together. So that's the keyword that we're comparing all of this data against. And it's saying the exact keyword is not found in the address of your website. So it's eximoptimum.com as opposed to export optimum or export import optimum or optimum imports exports. For instance, there are many different combinations you can use. All that we're saying here is that sometimes it's useful to have the actual service or the product you're selling in the website name itself. It makes it easier for people to know exactly what they're going to find when they click on your link and come to your page. Coming down, further down, what do we have here? Yeah, we don't need to worry about those. So here we go, title tag. I won't take very long on these. These are technical things that are typed into the background, into the coding of your website. Now, what we see on your website here is what human eyes can see. I look at this website, I click on different pages, I see pictures, I see text, I see things that look really pretty, but in the background, Google, as a search engine, the robots that Google sends out to try and work out who are these people, what is this website, what does it do? Those robots don't really look at pictures, they look at descriptions of pictures. They look at descriptions that say, I want you to take this text, put it in the middle, put in this title, make the text bigger, and then it says, oh, this text is bigger. That gives me an idea of what is important on this page. customs and legal. So it's reading all of the instructions in the background that tell it what's important on this page. So with me as a person, as a human being, I can see all of this lovely text and the picture, but the robots from Google see this. And this is the source code in the background. You don't need to worry about how I brought this up, but these are the instructions. This was created by Wix. Every time you put in a picture, every time you wrote in text, it automatically created this code in the background with all of the instructions that were necessary to tell the Wix page, put the picture on the left, put the text on the right. Now, inside of all of this strange coding that has been created automatically by Wix.com, we can find really important information that you've written in. So, for instance, there's this description here, products export to Russia. There's, your keywords. I'm sure you remember writing those in. Control, customs, EU, expense, export, import. I do think it would be a good idea to sit down maybe and reconsider what your keywords are, because you want the most important things to come at the beginning and perhaps to have a more complete explanation of what they do. So I can see here the word control, and then I see the word customs. So what the Google robots will think when they come here is, oh, this man is telling me that the most important thing about his website is that it deals with control, and I think he's selling customs. And that's not true, because actually you are dealing with exports and imports to and from Russia and the EU and the United States. But that's not very clear from your keywords or from your website description. There's a little bit at the beginning: products export to Russia, custom payments optimization. Oh, customs. Oh, right, yes, customs at the border, legal support, and we save and cut down expenses. So that is a little bit clearer. But this is the information that the Google robots are reading. And this, like I said, is the coding in the background, the instructions that tell the Wix system how to create these pages. Now let me come back to the report. There are all kinds of important things in there. It's saying that the title should contain the keyword, and it has 55 characters or less. Yes, let me come back to that technical stuff. And where's the title? Let me see, that's the description, those are the keywords. I can't see the title here. Oh, here it is. The title. This is what you wrote in as the title of the page. Export Russia customs clearance import. So it is in there kind of export Russia customs clearance import, but it's not, it's difficult to understand because the words aren't in the correct order. It would be better if the title of the page said something like exports and imports to Russia and other European countries and to the USA. That's English that is easier to understand, and I think that that is what is coming up here in the report. It's saying, I can't see your keyword, import, export. It should begin with the keyword. The most important thing that your business deals with should come at the beginning of your titles. So what have we looked at so far? We've looked at the speed, we've looked at your website address, and now we've looked at the titles that you give your pages. Make sure that they contain a specific keyword. Same thing with the description that you put in your website. And I'm sure you'll remember when you were creating the website in Wix.com that it asked you to type in a description somewhere in there. What's your description? Can we find it here? Here we go, description. The meta name is products export to Russia, etc., etc. So that text needs to be a little clearer. That is what it is saying here. It needs to have an exact keyword. Remember, the keyword that I chose was export import, or it could be import export. That's important because that is your central service. That is the service that you are trying to sell to potential clients, and you want to make sure that is as clear as possible, not only to human eyes but also to the Google robots, so they can decide where to put you in their listings. Okay, so let's move on. Image analysis. Now, there is a way of putting in pictures into the website so that you have a little bit of text in the background. So when you put up a picture of let me think, of a spinning world, you can actually give it a name. You don't see the text here. We don't see it with our human eyes, but Google robots will see it, and it will say, spinning the world. The world spins on imports and exports from country to country, for instance. Yeah, that's just an example. So if we had a meta tag, that's what they're called, an image meta tag that said the world spins on imports and exports from country to country, Google would understand and know that this picture relates to imports and exports between countries. Let me just close this. There we go. Okay, so what this information here is saying is that you can't find enough images on the home page. It said 0. I know there's one little image, but it's probably a GIF of some kind. Anyway, it's probably saying it's like a miniature video rather than a real picture. And it definitely can't find the keywords in the alt tag, alternative text. If the picture doesn't turn up, then the text you've written in the background will show instead. It just can't find any information behind the pictures. But remember that all of these things I've put here, somebody's trying to contact me, there we go. All of these things that, all of these subtitles that I've put in here are things that are important to Google to decide whether or not to put you in the listings. So if Google likes to see pictures, then you need to put in some pictures, because it's counting them and looking at the text in them to decide whether or not you are important enough to show to its customers. Here are the top 5 words that appear in your website, or at least on the main page, page 1 of your website. Import, clearance, customs, Russia, and export. And really, it would be good if import appeared, say, 7 times. Clearance once, customs 4 times, Russia 7 times, and export 8 times. The most important words should appear more often than other words. That's important. Heading tags. There isn't really time to talk about this. Again, that is something that is going to be found in the background of your website. It's a technical thing where we write it in the coding, and again it leads Google into knowing exactly what services you're offering. But there's no point explaining it here, because I would need to open up your admin panel, your administration panel in Wix to show you how that works. It's not really something I can show you from here. There is a way, let me think, how can I explain it? For instance, if you had words and phrases here and you made them much bigger, or you created subheadings, that would be when you would be using H1 tags, H3 tags, and so on and so forth. They're very, very important to Google, and you don't have any of them in here. It says they're all missing. Google uses those to try and decide what your website is about. Copy. In English, when we talk about copy, of course we mean copying one thing, looking at something and creating an exact replica of it. That's one thing, one meaning of the word copy. But another meaning of the word copy is also text on a website. That's what it means in this incident. Copy analysis, the analysis of the text that is on the website. And it's very clear. It says you need more text. Generally, websites that have 2,000 pages, 2,000 words, or more on a page are considered much better by Google, much more interesting. Basically, because when somebody comes to, when their clients, Google's clients, put in a search here, they want to send them to people who have lots of interesting information for them to read. That's why Wikipedia is almost always on page 1, no matter what you type at the top, because Wikipedia has lots of really juicy, interesting information for people, lots of text. Now, you don't need to go crazy with text. It needs to be interesting. It needs to have pictures, lots of images, maybe a video or two, to make things interesting for human eyes. But as far as Google is concerned, what you have at the moment is just not enough. It won't pay any attention to this page, because it will say no, it just looks boring to my clients. There's so little text that there's almost nothing to read. And unfortunately, I think you have a number of pages that are like that. This isn't quite enough text to really capture people's information. Well, with an About Us page, we definitely need more data, more text, more copy, more website copy. This is better. This page, which page am I on? Agenda, has a lot more information. It explains what you're doing. There is some repetition. You're repeating this, which I think was on your home page. These subtitles, I'm not sure what they mean. Sensitive, really sensitive, exim, optimum. Well, what is really sensitive? What does that refer to? What's sensitive means something that's sensitive might mean information that we need to be careful about knowing. Is it going to be problematic? I'm not quite sure what that means, and if I don't understand it as a human being, then Google robots definitely won't understand it either, and it won't help your placing in the listings. They need the text to be more detailed and definitely clearer, easier to understand. So that's definitely something to consider. So here, in terms of copy analysis, it's almost all problems. You need more words. It needs to find your specific keyword 2 to 4 times at least. Make some of the words bold or make them italicized, when the letters lean over to the right, they lean to one side, or underline the exact keywords, etc., etc. So it gives you suggestions for different things to do there. Code analysis, again, I can't really spend much time on this. This is a technical thing that would be dealt with in the background when you open up your administration panel in Wix. But again, it refers to all of this coding that the search engines, i.e. Google, which is the daddy of all search engines, would look at. So all I will mention is that the code analysis shows that there are quite a few problems here. A lot of it refers to the fact that there's not enough text, even though it's very happy that it didn't find Flash. There is some Flash on here, actually. I'm pretty sure that on the home page, that spinning world might be a Flash thing. But anyway, the important thing is all of this code analysis. You need to bring in a professional to make some of these changes or learn how to do it, and it might take quite a bit of time to do it, adding a schema or markup. A little bit too complicated, I think, for this report. But it is problematic, and there is some work that needs to be done there. Coming down, talking about social analysis. Now, Google loves the social networks. It loves them, it loves them, it loves them. Google considers the internet as a kind of playground in school. Do you remember when you were at school, all of the popular children all met together in the playground and played games together, and the unpopular children didn't have any friends and they sat all by themselves over in a corner of the playground. Maybe they sang to themselves, or they sat on the grass and they were very lonely. Google considers the website, the internet, to be a playground, and it only wants to spend time with the popular kids. So the more popular you are on the social networks, the more it thinks you are important, because people are talking about you. People are sharing your website pages. They are linking to you. All kinds of interesting things. They like to see lots of people linking to your website. They like to see people mentioning your website in LinkedIn and on Facebook. They like it when you're using Twitter and you're using Google Plus, which belongs to Google, so it loves you to use the Google Plus social website. So in my report, I've done a social analysis here, and you can see that it is quite problematic. There is no mention of your website anywhere that this report, that the program that I used could find in LinkedIn or on Facebook or on Google Plus. It's not finding Exim Optimum anywhere. You don't have either a Facebook or a Twitter or a Google Plus button on your website. Now you'll see on my website, I think it's this one here, and believe me, my website has lots and lots of problems. It's not really what I use to find clients. I use LinkedIn, which I'll be talking about a little bit later. But on my website, even though I don't use it very much, right down here at the bottom, I belong to lots of different social networks, Twitter, Facebook, etc., etc. So when Google comes to my page, it finds all of these buttons here in the coding in the background, and it says, aha, interesting, this woman is connecting with people right across the internet, and people talk about her and they find her, and she's one of the popular kids in the playground. Great, I'm going to push her website further up the listings, because she obviously has discussions going on. I found that she has a blog, and on that blog she talks about different things and she shares that information with other people. So I know that people will find interesting stuff to talk about and to read on her website, so therefore I'm going to push her further up the listings. So that's how the internet works now. It's all about creating lots of links across the internet. And unfortunately, at the moment, I can see this link down here. This is, I know this is your Facebook page and this is your Twitter page. I'm presuming that there's just not very much activity going on there. There may be a problem in the way that it's coded as well in the background, because it's not being seen by the Google robots. It can't find that information there. So Google will say there's no Facebook button on here, even though there is a little Facebook button at the bottom. Let me have a look here. Facebook.com, Twitter, Exim Optimum. Okay, so you do have a Twitter page, which is fantastic. I think perhaps we could make it look a little bit better. You don't have many followers at the moment, which means that people won't be mentioning you very much. You only have 6 tweets, and I understand if you think, oh my goodness, this is just too much work. I can see you started this in February. This is too much work. I can't be on this silly Twitter thing and on Facebook and on LinkedIn. I know it seems like a lot of work, but it's really important to Google, and that means that if you take part in the discussions in the social networks, more people will find you, more people will know about you, more people will be interested in what you do and the services you sell, and you will make more money. Otherwise, your website will basically be like a really nice brochure or a very nice poster that you keep underneath your bed in your bedroom. It doesn't matter how beautiful that brochure is, if nobody can see it, if you don't put it into people's hands, on Facebook or on Twitter or on LinkedIn, nobody will know what is in that brochure. And at the moment you have a brochure website and nobody can see it and nobody can find it. So it would be good to perhaps make more of an effort in the area of the social network. So that's the social analysis. Let's see. Mobile analysis. Your mobile, when your website is opened up using a mobile phone, it can be viewed. It fits correctly. The system will make it smaller. So that is great. Google considers this extremely important now, because at the moment half of all web searches are on mobile phones, especially in the United States. So Google is penalizing, it is punishing websites that are not viewable, that can't be seen correctly on a mobile site. But we don't have any problem with that at all. Let's go down. Page link analysis. Remember what I said? It's like a playground, and you need to be one of the popular kids, one of the popular children. People need to be putting in links from other sites to you, and you also have to have links going to them. And there is a site that looks at all of the links that go from one website to another and lists them, and it gives you a score. And at the moment, the website that does this is called Moz. I actually opened it over here. It's a website that's been in business for many, many years on the internet, and they look at online visibility, how visible you are to other people on the internet. You don't need to worry about Moz in any way, shape or form. I'm just explaining to you why the report uses that word Moz there. Well, Moz is a website, a company that exists just to analyze websites, millions and millions and millions of websites across the world, and decide how trustworthy they are, whether or not they have interesting information, and they rank them, they give them a page score, and whether or not they have real authority on the internet, if they are considered interesting by Google and if other people are linking to you. And unfortunately, in all of these areas, your grading is very low. 0 links from sites, 0 links to sites. Your page score is 0, your rank score is 0, your authority is only 1, and that's out of 10. So basically, you need to start linking with other websites, and there are specific ways to do that. Root domain link analysis. Again, it's similar to this. This is how many websites are linking and are interested in Exim Optimum across the internet, and apparently nobody's interested in it. I'm so sorry, but that's what it's saying. There's only one page that has been indexed by Google. Google only knows about one of your pages on the internet. There is a special technique, a special process that you have to go through in order to tell Google, look, I'm here, this is my website, and I want you to come, Mr. Google robot, and look at what I have here. And the robots will come. You invite them in through a very special piece of software that Google provides, and it will list every single one of your pages. It may take a long time to do it, but it will eventually find every one of them. Now, normally it takes about 3 months, 3 to 6 months. That's how long it takes for the Google robots to go around the whole of the internet, all of the billions and billions of pages, and find every single one and list them. 3 to 6 months. But there's a special technique that you can use that will tell Google about your pages in 2 weeks. So again, you need a professional to come in and be working with you on getting your website pages into the indexes, into the Google indexes. There's no point me talking about them here. I mean, I could talk about them for an hour, but you need somebody who will sit down and do that for you for an hour, or just keep working on your website in social media, on the social networks, and Google will automatically find the pages by itself. So you don't need to do these processes. You just need to be active on the web. Domain analysis. Google likes the fact that domain names, and when I say domain, I mean this name up here, xmoptimum.com. It likes the fact that it's over a year old and it doesn't expire for another 2.5 years. That's fantastic, because when people buy, I mean, think about it. If you come across a company that has opened up a store, a shop, and taken out, it's rented the property for 1 year or for 6 months, you'd think, well, they don't really have any intention of staying here for very long. But if you find out they've rented it for 10 years or for 5 years, that would make you feel more comfortable. You'd think, they want to be here for a long time. Good. And that's exactly how Google thinks about your website. The fact that you bought the domain for 1, 2, 3, 4 years instead of just 1 year is a good thing. So that's what all of this stuff here refers to. It's just saying that the name could be shorter, but I think it's perfectly fine. It doesn't have an exact keyword. Remember, we talked about keywords, and your keywords, I'm guessing, are imports and exports, but it could be something different if you want to focus on something different. Robot text not found. HTTPS, again, this is very, very technical, but it's to do with the security of your website, whether or not Google considers the site to be safe for people to visit, and it is. This isn't a huge issue, it's not a big issue, but it is something that sometimes Google will look at. And the robots.txt file, that is a file that tells the robots, the Google robots, come and look and see what pages I have. I want you to come and find all of the links on my website, look at my domain, put all of my pages in the index so that you can put them up to page 1. Google doesn't know what the pages are because it can't find a special file that we create that will list every single page and tell Google exactly what is on your website. That was the little thing I was talking about before, where I said that it would be good to bring in a professional who can help you to get your pages indexed in Google. That's part of the process to create the robots.txt file. It found a favicon, and the favicon is just this little cute image that we have up here, the little yellow image that you have at the top. Google likes to see those, makes things clearer as to what you're doing. Now, we've come to the end of the report, but down here I've put in a list of tasks, things that you could be working on to make your website more delicious to Google and more interesting for human eyes when they come and look at your website. So both for the robots and for the people. These are the things you should be working on. We need to definitely decide what your exact keyword phrase or phrases are. We need to put that keyword into the title, make sure it's at the beginning, into the descriptions. It's all about letting people who visit your website and the robots know exactly what you're offering. Your image files need to be optimized. That's what we say. Need to be optimized with that keyword, and we need some tags in there as well. H1, H2, and H3 tags, which are basically ways of telling the system these are the most important words on this page. You need more text in there, more content. There need to be more words on the page, and again, the keyword needs to be sprinkled about. It needs to be thrown in amongst those 2,000 words much more often than it currently is. More information about keywords. HTML is not W3C validated. I would suggest that you bring in a professional to look at that and tidy up the HTML in the background. I don't think you're at a level where you really need to worry about this at the moment, but it is something to consider later on. Again, HTML, schema.org markup. Add in a tweet button. If you can find a way to engage on social media, spend time talking to people, that would be a great idea. Very, very important. So tweet, Facebook, Google, we can see which are the most important things to Google Plus. which are the most important things to the search engines. And also you really do need to start creating a way for other websites to link to you. Now if you go to Facebook and you go to Twitter, and on your Twitter page you say, come and check out my latest blog post, and then you put what's the name again? Exim Optimum, I beg your pardon, eximoptimum.com/blog, then you have a link that comes directly to your website. It's very simple to do, but you just have to do a little bit each and every day. A bit more. Your scores across the internet are very low because you're not spending time talking with other people. When I say you, I mean your website and linking with other sites, and only one of your pages is in the Google listings at all. Every single page of your website should be in there. There are some websites that have thousands of pages, and they work hard every day to make sure that all of those websites are listed by Google, because if Google knows that you have the home page, that's nice. It will put this in its listings, and it may appear somewhere in the listings, somewhere in the 639,000 results. But supposing it has home and news and archive and agenda and services and transport storage and customs clearance, well, that is like 8 or 9 different opportunities to appear somewhere in here. So you really need to get those pages indexed by Google as soon as possible. Finally, do consider perhaps looking at a different domain. I know you already have a domain name, but you can actually have 2 or 3 domain names that all point to the same website. It's not the best thing to do, but if you have, say, 2 domain names, that would be no problem at all. So you can have one that is your brand name with your logo, RussianExportImports.com, for instance, and that might be the name that you give your logo, the name that you give your business. But it doesn't mean that you would have to close or get rid of Exim Optimum, because that can work too. So if people already find you through this name, you don't close it, you don't get rid of the domain, you just point it all to the same website. So, but the domain does need to be looked at. Sites should be accessible via SSL. Again, that's something that you need to bring in a professional to look at. I actually don't think you need it at this time. Security is not going to be a big issue for you on your website, because you don't have it's more important when, for instance, you have a payments button. If people come to your website, they have their credit card in their hand, they click on a button and they're put through to a payment cart or a shopping cart, then security is extremely important. The SSL certificate will help to lock the website page so that it will be much more difficult for people to read what information is on that page as people are using their credit card. That's what that is all about. It's something you need to bring in somebody to do for you. The robots.txt file, again, that is just a way for you to list every single one of your website pages so that the Google robots, the search engine robots, can find them nice and easily. They land on one, and the robots file tells them, oh, by the way, make sure you look at this page, this page, this page as well. So those are my recommendations. I've put here that in conclusion, I can help you with all of these tasks and get your web pages and website ranked higher in major search engines like Google, which will help you dramatically increase targeted traffic conversions and sales from your website. Now, I've put this together just as I do for all of my clients. I understand that you want to do this yourself. That's absolutely fine, but I always include this at the end of all of my reports so that people know that I am available to help them in terms of improving their website and developing their business contacts. Now that I've gone through the whole report and you have a good summary of that, how long did that take? Maybe half an hour. I'm just going to quickly, do we have anything here? Yes, quickly give you some pointers that may help you to do some of this work yourself. So here are my recommendations. Number one, I'm not going to lie, I don't think Wix is a very good system to create a business website. It's not very stable, it's not very robust, and once you do start getting more business, you won't be able to expand the website and do more things in the way that you might want to with a bigger company. A much better system is WordPress, and this is my favorite website for finding WordPress themes that you can buy. They're kind of ready-made websites that you then go in and make. You mess around with them to make them look the way that you want them to look. For the kind of website you want, if you do it yourself, I would set aside maybe 2 months to create it yourself. If you bring in a professional, you should give them about a month to 6 weeks to create a website, and it will look very professional, and they can put in all of the payment options that you want, or whatever is required. But WordPress at the moment is one of the very best tools for creating a great website. So let me put in export and import business and see some examples that come up. Website templates. Here we go. I'm going to open some here, just 3 I think. And you can see the average cost is around $50. This was $59, $59, $44, $49. They're not very expensive. And it's like a ready-made website, but you then have to go in and put in your own pictures. Let's look at a live preview of this first one. Taking a long time. Huh. Gives you an example of what the website would be like. I don't know that I like that one very much. It's very busy. Let's look at another example. That's to do with how you're going to make payments in the future. My internet is a bit slow today, so patience. So this is what your website could potentially look like if you were to buy this particular theme. And you could have an image here that's moving, you can have text on top. Remember what I was saying about showing your most important information at the top here? On the first section of the page, at the top of the fold. So you could have an image that shows exactly what you're selling, what your services are, and then some text, and then underneath a little bit more text, images, pictures of who your team is, so that people know who you are and they feel comfortable purchasing from you or paying you for your services. You could put in a promotional video and so on and so forth. So that's what ThemeForest offers. ThemeForest.net, not .com, ThemeForest.net. But there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of sites on the internet that sell WordPress themes. You can find them everywhere. Please avoid free WordPress themes. The reason I say this is because the free ones, often they're very beautiful and they're very enticing and interesting, but a lot of the time there is hidden code in the background. Do you remember I showed you the hidden code from your website here? This is the stuff that Google can see. Well, they hide, with the free ones, they hide little bits of advertising and marketing in this code for their websites and for their businesses, and Google doesn't like that. And even though you create a beautiful website for yourself using a free WordPress theme, the company that offers the free WordPress theme may be causing problems and making Google say, oh, no, we don't like you. We can see all of this spammy advertising in the background and we're going to remove your name from the listings. So free is not always better. I always pay for my WordPress themes, or if I buy them, if I use a free one, then I go in and I remove all of the advertising, and you need to know HTML and CSS to be able to do that properly. What else do I have open? I do think you should consider creating some websites, I beg your pardon, some videos, and uploading them to YouTube. It's just so important. Google owns YouTube, and so anything you put on here, Google will pay attention to it. Do you remember I was saying it might take 3 to 6 months for Google to find all of the pages in your website? That's very normal, because it just whizzes around the website and it takes it that long to get to every single page. And then it starts again from the beginning, and it might take another 3 to 6 months to find your next 10 pages that you create. I have put videos onto YouTube and linked them linked them to a client's website. So the video on YouTube, which is owned by Google, is linked to a client's website, and Google will find their website in 3 days. That's because Google is constantly coming and checking anything that's on here, because 80% of people who go onto the internet now are looking for videos, moving images. People are fascinated by it. So if you create a video, a marketing video, and then you put it on the front page of your website, Google will find you instantly, and it will give you extra points, because it will say, oh, you're more popular. I see that you are linking to my lovely YouTube website, and it will give you more points, and you will go further up their listings. That's just the way that it works. So anything on YouTube is a good thing. So if you can, create some kind of marketing video. This just happens to be my channel with marketing videos that I've done for other clients. Okay, again, same thing. If you can, I would go in and I would start using your Facebook page. I know you have it there, but you're not really doing very much with it. As you can see with mine, I actually have blog posts on my website that I then copy over into my LinkedIn profile, that I also put links to on my Facebook page. And so Google comes over and says, aha, I have found this information here and here and here. Oh, you're one of the popular kids. So it will push you further up the linkings. That's the way it goes. Same thing with Twitter. You need to be engaging and taking part in what's going on around the internet. You can be talking, for instance, about political decisions that have been made by Putin as far as imports and exports and overseas business is concerned in Russia. You could be informing people about those decisions and writing about them, just using 2 lines on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and on Facebook. And Google will pay attention to those if you have a link back to your website. Same thing with Google Plus, which is owned by Google as well. Obviously, it's there in the name. Anything that appears on Google Plus and on YouTube will be picked up instantly by Google. It loves them because they are the owners. They belong to them. But Google is also very, very interested in Pinterest at the moment. So Pinterest is fantastic for search engine optimization. My suggestion to you is that you don't worry about Pinterest now, because it's the wrong demographic. It's the wrong type of people who are using Pinterest for the type of work that you do. The vast majority of people who use Pinterest are interested in different kinds of services and products than the one that you're offering, unless you are going to be interested in importing and exporting or selling beauty products, food products, anything to do with the female market, and that's because in the Pinterest market, the vast majority of users are women. 80% of people who use Pinterest are women. I don't know about Google Plus. With Twitter, it's about 60% men, 40% women. With Facebook, it's 50-50, half women, half men. And YouTube, it's just everybody uses YouTube. But Pinterest is predominantly women. But the reason I'm mentioning it is because recent research investigations show that Pinterest creates so much traffic, can create a lot more traffic to your website. There are people who find that they will have Google, Twitter, and Facebook accounts, and their Pinterest account will send more clicks back to their website than all three of these combined. So Pinterest is really, people who use Pinterest are really active, and they're the best buyers. They're ready to buy. And of course we know this in most households. It's women who make the purchasing decisions. Even if it's the man who takes his money and buys a car, the woman is the one who has decided if he can buy that nice new sports car, or if he has to buy a big old wagon that they can put all of the children in. It's the women have a lot of purchasing power and make a lot of decisions, and they are ready to buy on Pinterest, but it's not quite your demographic, I don't think. Just a couple more sites that I think you should look at. Instagram is a social network, social website that has a lot of images. Your website is very image poor, and Pinterest and Instagram are all about pictures. You can see my site is very poor here. I need to put more images on Instagram. I just don't like it very much. It's used more by the younger crowd, and I don't have many clients who are in the 18 to 28 age group, so it's not quite my demographic, but it's there. I'm just letting you know it's there. And when you get more images on your website, you might want to consider using it. I've left this till the last, LinkedIn, because I think it's the most important one. I think that this will provide the greatest opportunities for you to find new business in the future. My strongest recommendation would be that you create a very strong presence on LinkedIn. Put your picture on there, put who you are, explain exactly what you do, put up some images, put up some videos, put up whatever you need to put up on here, explain work that you've done, show case studies for how you've helped other companies to buy and sell in Russia and across Europe, and then join some of the groups in here, and just spend the next 6 months really building a strong network in LinkedIn. The reason I say this is because LinkedIn is a group of professionals. Facebook is about having fun. YouTube is obviously just about videos. Twitter, well, people talk about the fact that they had cornflakes this morning on Twitter. It's just silly things. There are many business opportunities in there, but you have to work harder. LinkedIn is all about business, and the average income of people who use LinkedIn is about, I think it's currently at $103,000 a year. So these are people who earn good money, which means they have money to spend. Almost all corporate companies are on here, and with importing and exporting, it would be great if you could find larger companies who want to import and export. That means you might have, say, 5 clients in a year who want to import or export amounts of, say, $500,000. If you ask for a 3% referral fee or finder's fee or whatever, you're making good money, and you only need 4, 5, maybe 6 clients. That would be much easier than trying to find 1,000 clients on Pinterest or on Twitter. So I think your demographic is going to be here on LinkedIn, but you need a really good profile, a very strong profile, in order to be interesting to people on LinkedIn. LinkedIn people are tough. I do a lot of my marketing here, and they are difficult to work with because they want a lot of information. They want to know all about you. They want to see that you are extremely professional, and that means that you have to spend a lot of time thinking about the data that you put on here. Now, I'm going to send you a free copy of a book that I have that I sell on Amazon, which is called How to Achieve Lead Generation. Leads are people who communicate with you because they're interested in your business. How to achieve lead generation success through LinkedIn. Harnessing the marketing power of LinkedIn. So in this book, you'll have all of the information that I know about how best to make connections on LinkedIn. I'm going to send you a free copy. You don't need to buy it from LinkedIn, from Amazon.com. I'll just include it in the email that I send to you. So in chapter 1, you'll learn what LinkedIn is about, why you should use it for business, how to get the most out of LinkedIn for your business, automation tools that you can use online that will help you to get people in your network very quickly, etc., etc. On my LinkedIn site, I usually have maybe 2 or 3 people communicating with me each month on LinkedIn who are interested in the business that I do. 2 or 3 a month. And that's out of, how many connections do I have? I think I have 6,000 connections. So you have to work quite hard to do it. But when the business comes in, boy, people are ready to spend thousands of dollars because they have the disposable income. So I'll send you a copy of that book. Let me just show you here that you can search for other people who are interested in importing and exporting to and from Russia and the EU and the EEU. Let me show you how to search for that. If I go up here to the top, search for people, jobs, companies and more, I'm going to click on the left here. I'm going to say I'm looking for groups, not companies. You can search for companies, but of course that's one by one. But if I go to groups, and then I type in here that I'm looking for imports, exports, Russia, and then I come over here and I click the search button, magnifying glass. Oh, what did I write? Imports, exports, Russia. Import, exports, Russia. How interesting. Why would it say that? Groups about importing and exporting. Here we go. Right, so I have almost 2,000 different groups for importing and exporting. I don't want that many. Oh, mind you, trading with Latin America, World Trade, Canada, import, export, Russia. Let's have a look at this. This is a group that was set up by a woman called Ludmila. What's this? Makarova. She's a Russian trader, and I would imagine she's been running this group for 3 or 4 years. She has nearly 20,000 people who are on LinkedIn who have joined her group. Let's have a look at this. So she can continuously be talking to them and marketing to them. 19,694 members. This is a closed group, so I can't show you what they're discussing in here. I would have to click on this and say, excuse me, can I join your group? And then you, Mila, would decide whether or not I can be a member. So here is her. Oh, fantastic. Look, here is her profile. She is actually based in Cape Town in South Africa. But obviously from her name, she is a Russian person and she's involved in importing, exporting. She has a summary. We export from South Africa, the Russian Federation and 48 other countries and distribute our products worldwide. Then she's very specific in listing exactly what she imports and exports and in listing her specialties. That is what you need to be doing, Sergey. You need to be really precise about what you do and how you do it. Managing Director of Import-Export Russia. That name is just perfect. It is exactly the keyword phrase that Google is going to be interested in. And of course, Google is looking at LinkedIn all the time. I don't think she even had contact information. Does she even? She doesn't have a website. It looks like she only works on Twitter and LinkedIn. That's it. But she's obviously making money, and she is the person who is in charge of this amazing group of 20,000 people. Now, when you look through the book, when you look through my book, you'll find some information about how to start a group. You may not want to do it now. I would actually suggest that you join other people's groups and you read what they have to say, and you just let people know, I'm available, I can help you. Oh, you asked that question, let me answer it for you, because I have the expertise to know how to do that thing that you asked about. Oh, you want to know about the legal implications? No problem. Just send me an email and I can tell you more. Now that I've told you more in your email, let me know if you want me to help you, and you can pay for my services, and boom, you've got yourself a business. That's the best way to work it. So I left this for last because I think it's going to be the most important thing for you. This LinkedIn has the demographic that you want, the people who have the money to pay for your services, but you just need to be much clearer on what you're offering, be really precise on your keywords, and I do think you need a more modern and much better optimized website. So I guess that's something to be working on over the next 2 to 3 months. Please do let me know how you get on. I'd be interested to see what happens in the future. And I've given you as comprehensive an outline as I do for any of my clients, when people usually pay $300 or $400 for this kind of outline, and they then use it to decide what steps to take next in terms of their marketing. So this is kind of consultancy. If you can find somebody locally who can help you to improve the text on your website, that would be step number 1. If you want me to help you with that, that's no problem at all. We can work out a contract and decide on some pricing depending on what you need. But yes, in the meantime, I wish you the very best of luck. In fact, I'm not going to say luck because I'm a Christian. I'm going to say blessings on your new business, and I hope that it is very, very successful for you during this year. Thank you so much for listening, Sergey. I hope you took lots of notes and you found it useful. Maybe I'll hear from you again soon. Okay, God bless you. Bye.